There are some words, like verisimilitude, osmosis, onomatopoeia, words like that, which are a bit difficult to get your tongue round, but otherwise are quite easy. And why are they easy? They're easy because the teacher knows they're difficult, and so they're specifically taught. So EAL children can learn them. The problem is words that we don't recognise as being difficult, and therefore we don't teach them. I remember in the 1990s I was in a year 4 class, and there was a maths problem, and the book was obviously 20 years old or something, and one of the things one says, if 1 LP costs £1 or whatever it was, well, how much do 3 cost, that sort of sum. And I turned to a child and said, do you know what an LP is? And he said, is it something like a CD? Well, he was right, but just think how things are changing so quickly that actually already CDs are less and less important, and soon I think they will disappear altogether. The class teacher was absolutely flabbergasted that these children didn't know the word LP, or the word single for that matter. And she was a young woman in her mid-20s, but language changes so quickly that the language which was common, everyday language for her, was already too old-fashioned for the children to know properly. So today I want to alert us to words which we know, but they're actually quite old-fashioned and won't be within the experience or the vocabulary of the children we're teaching. And of course, I'm so old now, I'm in my 70s, when I was at school, we had a dip pen, inkwells, and blotting paper, things that you will never see anymore. And I've got a whole list of words that, other things I remember, coal scuttles, fire irons, or even the word coal is difficult for children, whilst of course for me it was an everyday part of my childhood. And let's see the other words I've got down that are old-fashioned. If, like me, you remember the 60s, you remember language like hip and fab and groovy and ace and swinging. And nowadays, of course, things are wicked, and that will soon go. I came across a SATs paper, year 6, and it had classiest dame in the world. Well, that language comes from the 1930s. Really problematic for lots of children. And other words I've been thinking of that used to be common for clothes, like a tank top. Or what about computers? Do you remember floppy disks? My 18-year-old grandson had no idea what I was talking about. And of course for me, all the currency changed. So I remember shillings, and I remember the very first time I got ½ a crown for my pocket money. Wow, what an amazing amount of money. And for you, it may mean absolutely nothing. We need to remember that the things that we knew as a child may not be the same as the children we're teaching, because the world has changed, and may not be the same for them because they come from a different background. So remember, words that we know that are easy for us may be very difficult for the children we're teaching.